Hi. Hey, I'm back. I know I'm really late. Anyway, I don't know if anyone's even gonna watch this, but I just realized that this says part one. Does that mean that this is part one of Lord of the Rings? Don't tell me there's a part two of this one. Anyway, okay. I really need to finish this book because I started it over a year ago. So, yeah. I don't remember where I was, but. Excuse me. Let's see. I don't remember what happened last. I think he met up with, what's his name? Gandalf. Right? Gandalf. Oh no. That guy. Okay. Sorry. Glowin looked at him. If you have not heard, I think we will not speak yet of that either. Master Elrond will summon us. One second. I swear. Are you kidding me? Okay. Master Elrond will summon us all ere long, I believe, and then we shall all hear many things. But there is much else that may be told. Throughout the rest of the meal they talked together, but Frodo listened more than he spoke, for the news of the Shire, apart from the ring, seemed small and far away and unimportant. While Glowin had much to tell of events in the northern regions of Wilderland, Frodo learned that Grimborian the Old, son of Beorn, was now the lord of many sturdy men, and to their land between the mountains and Mirkwood, neither orc nor wolf dared to go. What do you think about that? I don't even know what's going on, really. Indeed, said Glowin, if it were not for the Beorings, the passage from Dale to Rivendell would long ago have become impossible. They are valiant men and keep open the high pass and shake of his head. And like Beorn of old, they are not over fond of dwarves. Still they are trusty, and that is much in these days. Now nowhere are there any men so friendly to us as the men of Dale. They are good folk, the Bardings, the grandson of Bard, and the bowman rules them. Brandon now of Bane's son of Bard. He is a strong king, and his realm now reaches far south and east of Esgaroth. I hope I'm pronouncing. Who knows how to pronounce this right? I'm gonna read it like this. I'm trying to find the best way to read this. I need light to see. Oh, somebody left. I'm sorry. I'm so boring. This is not very exciting, I guess. Whatever. I don't care. I keep saying how I don't care. Like, okay, we get it. Okay, focus. I'm reading. Read. And what of your own people? Asked Frodo. There is much to tell, good and bad, said Glowin. Yet it is mostly good. We have so far been fortunate, though we do not escape the shadow of these times. If you really wish to hear of us, I will tell you tidings gladly. But stop me when you are weary. Dwarves' tongues run on when speaking of their hardy handiwork, they say. And with that, Glowin embarked on a long account of the doings of the dwarf kingdom. He was delighted to have found so polite a listener, for Frodo showed no sign of weariness and made no attempt to change the subject, though actually he soon got rather lost among the strange names of people and places that he had never heard of before. He was interested, however, to hear that Dain was still king under the mountain and was now old, having passed his 250th year. Venerable and fabulously rich, one of the 10 companions who had survived the battle of 5 armies, 7 were still with him: Dwalin, Glowin, Dory, Nori, Beaver, Bofer, and Bomber. Bomber was now so fat that he could not move himself from his couch to his chair at table, and it took 6 young dwarfs to lift him. And what has become of Balin and Ori and Owen? Asked Frodo. A shadow passed over Glowin's face. We do not know, he answered. It is largely on account of Balin that I have come to ask the advice of those that dwell in Rivendell. But tonight let us speak of merrier things. Glowin began then to talk of the works of his people, telling Frodo about their great labors in Dale and under the mountain. We have done well, he said, but in metal work we cannot rival our fathers, many of whose secrets are lost. We make good armor and keen swords, but we cannot again make mail or blade to match those that were made before the dragon came. Only in mining and building have we surpassed the old days. You should see the waterways of Dale, Frodo, and the fountains and the pools. You should see the stone-paved roads of many colors, and the halls and cavernous streets under the earth with arches carved like trees, and the terraces and towers upon the mountain sides. Then you would see that we have not been idle. I will come and see them if ever I can, said Frodo. How surprised Bilbo would have been to see all the changes and the desolation of Smaug. Glowin looked at Frodo and smiled. You were very fond of Bilbo, were you not? He asked. Yes, answered Frodo. I would rather see him than all the towers and palaces in the world. At length the feast came to an end. Elrond and Arwen rose and went down the hall, and the company followed them in due order. The doors were thrown open, and they went across a wide passage and through other doors, and came into a further hall. In it were no tables, but a bright fire was burning in a great earth between the carven pillars upon either side. Frodo found himself walking with Gandalf. This is the Hall of the Fire, said the wizard. Here you will hear many songs and tales, if you can keep awake, but except on high days, it usually stands empty and quiet, and people come here who wish for peace and thought. There is always a fire here all the year round, but there is little other light. As Elrond entered and went towards the seat prepared for him, elvish minstrels began to make sweet music. Slowly the hall filled, and Frodo looked with delight upon the many fair faces that were gathered together. The golden firelight played upon them and shimmered in their hair. Suddenly he noticed, not far from the further end of the fire, a small dark figure seated on a stool with his back propped up against a pillar. Beside him on the ground was a drinking cup and some bread. Frodo wondered whether he was ill, if people were ever ill in Rivendell and had been unable to come to the feast. His head seemed sunk in sleep on his breast, and a fold of his dark cloak was drawn over his face. Elrond went forward and stood beside the silent figure. Awake, little master, he said with a smile. Then turning to Frodo, he beckoned to him. Now at last the hour has come that you have wished for, Frodo, he said. Here is a friend that you have long missed. The dark figure raised its head and uncovered its face. Bilbo, cried Frodo with sudden recognition, and he sprang forward. Hello, Frodo, my lad, said Bilbo. So you have got here at last. I hoped you would manage it. Well, well, so all this feasting is in your honor, I hear. I hope you enjoyed yourself. Why weren't you there? Cried Frodo, and why haven't I been allowed to see you before? Because you were asleep. I have not seen a good deal of you. I have sat by your side with Sam each day, but as for feast, I don't go in for such things much now. And I had something else to do. What were you doing? Why, sitting and thinking. I do a lot of that nowadays, and this is the place to do it in, as a rule. Wake up indeed, he said, cocking an eye at Elrond. There was a bright twinkle in it, and no sign of sleepiness that Frodo could see. Wake up, I was not asleep, Master Elrond. If you want to know, you have all come out from your feast too soon, and as you have not disturbed me in the middle of making up a song, I was stuck over a line or two and was thinking about them, but now I don't suppose I shall ever get them right. There will be such a deal of singing that the ideas will be driven clean out of my head. I shall have to get my friend the Dunedain to help me. Where is he? Elrond laughed. He shall be found, he said. Then you two shall go into a corner and finish your task, and we will hear it and judge it before we end our merry making. Messengers were sent to find Bilbo's friend, though none knew where he was, or why he had not been present at the feast. In the meanwhile, Frodo and Bilbo sat side by side, and Sam came quickly and placed himself near them. They talked together in soft voices, oblivious of the mirth and music in the hall about them. Bilbo had not much to say of himself. When he had left Hobbiton, he had wandered off aimlessly along the road or in the country or either side, but somehow he steered all the time towards Rivendell. I got here without much adventure, he said, and after a rest I went on with the dwarfs to Dale, my last journey. I shan't travel again. Old Balin had gone away. Then I came back here, and here I have been. I have not done this and that. I have written some more of my book, and of course I make up a few songs. They sing them occasionally, just to please me. Can you see me? What the fuck? Sorry. I think for, of course, they aren't really good enough for Rivendell. And I listen and I think, time doesn't seem to pass here. It just is. A remarkable place altogether. I hear all kinds of news from over the mountains and out of the south, but hardly anything from the Shire. I heard about the ring, of course. Gandalf has been here often. Not that he has told me a great deal. He has become closer than ever these last few years. The Dunedain had told me more. Fancy that ring of mine causing such a disturbance. It is a pity that Gandalf did not find out more sooner. I could have brought the thing here myself long ago without so much trouble. I have thought several times of going back to Hobbiton for it, but I am getting old, and they would not let me. Gandalf and Elrond, I mean. They seemed to think that the enemy was looking high and low for me, and would make mincemeat of me if he caught me tottering about it in the wild. And Gandalf said, the ring has passed on, Bilbo. It wouldn't do no good to you or to others if you tried to meddle with it again. Odd sort of remark, just like Gandalf. But he said he was looking after you, so I let things be. I am frightfully glad to see you safe and sound. He paused and looked at Frodo doubtfully. Have you got it here? He asked in a whisper. I can't help feeling curious, after all I've heard. I should very much like just to peep at it again. Yes, I've got it, answered Frodo, feeling a strange reluctance. Don't tell me that Bilbo is going to be weird about the ring. I hope not. He felt reluctant. That usually means, I don't know. It looks just the same as it ever did. Hello. Well, I should just like to see it for a moment, said Bilbo. When he had dressed, Frodo found that while he slept, the ring had been hung around his neck on a new chain, light but strong. Slowly he drew it out. Bilbo put out his hand. But Frodo quickly drew back the ring. To his distress and amazement, he found that he was no longer looking at Bilbo. A shadow seemed to fall between them, to have fallen between them, I knew it. And through it, he found himself eyeing a little wrinkled creature with a hungry face and bony, groping hands. He felt a desire to strike him. The music and singing round them seemed to falter, and a silence fell. Bilbo looked quickly at Frodo's face and passed his hand across his eyes. I understand now, he said. Put it away. I am sorry. Sorry you have come in for this burden. Sorry about everything. Don't adventures ever have an end? I suppose not. Somehow, someone else always has to carry on the story. Well, it can't be helped. I wonder if it's any good trying to finish my book. But don't let's worry about it now. Let's have some real news. Tell me all about the Shire. What? Interesting. Frodo hid the ring away, and the shadow passed, leaving hardly a shred of memory. The light and music of Rivendell was about him again. Bilbo smiled and laughed happily. Every item of news from the Shire that Frodo could tell aided and corrected him now and again by Sam. It was one of the greatest interests of him. From the felling of the least tree to the pranks of the smallest children in Hobbiton. They were so deep in the doings of the Four Farthings that they did not notice the arrival of a man clad in a dark green cloth. For many minutes he stood looking down at them with a smile. Suddenly Bilbo looked up. Ah, there you are at last. Dunedain, he cried. Strider, said Frodo. You seem to have a lot of names. Well, Strider is one that I haven't heard before anyway, said Bilbo. Why do you call him that for? They call me that in Bree, said Strider, laughing, and that is how I was introduced to him. And why do you call him Dunedain? Asked Frodo. The Dunedain, said Bilbo. He's often called that here, but I thought you knew enough Elvish at least to know Dunedain, man of the West, Númenórean. But this is not the time for lessons. He turned to Strider. Where have you been, my friend? Why weren't you at the feast? The Lady Arwen was there. Strider looked down at Bilbo gravely. I know, he said, but often I must put mirth aside. Elladan and Elrohir have returned out of the wild unlooked for, and they had tidings that I wish to hear at once. Well, my dear fellow, said Bilbo, now you've heard the news, can't you spare me a moment? I want your help in something urgent. Elrond says this song of mine is to be finished before the end of the evening, and I am stuck. Let's go off into a corner and polish it up. Strider smiled. Come then, he said. Let me hear it. Frodo was left to himself for a while, for Sam had fallen asleep. He was alone and felt rather forlorn, although all about him the folk of Rivendell were gathered. But those near him were silent, intent upon the music of the voices and the instruments, and they gave no heed to anything else. Frodo began to listen. At first the beauty of the melodies and of the interwoven words in elven tongues, even though he understood them a little, held him in a spell. As soon as he began to tend to them, almost it seemed that the words took shape, and visions of far lands and bright things that he had never yet imagined opened out before him, and the firelit hall became like a golden mist above seas of foam that sighed upon the margins of the world. Where did I go? Then the enchantment became more and more dreamlike until he felt that an endless river of swelling gold and silver was flowing over him. Two multitude. Hi. Hi. Oh my gosh. Thanks for. Oh my god. Oh my god. What the heck? Thank you so much. Thank you. Are you kidding me? Oh, that was so sweet. I'm so glad you're enjoying. I really appreciate that. I was like, wow, no one's gonna like this. Thank you. Oh, I'm this chapter, and then I'm gonna read more. I'm gonna try. Oh my god, now I'm messing up. I'm gonna try and finish this chapter though, and then I'll read more. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you. I love you guys so much. Wait, okay, where was I? Okay, dreamlike until oh, I don't know this word. Can I love that message? Thank you. I hope you can hear me. I really appreciate that. Thank you so much. Does anyone know how to pronounce this word? Multitudinous. Multitudinous. For its pattern to be comprehended. It became part of the throbbing air about him, and it drenched and drowned him. Swiftly he sank under its shining weight into a deep realm of sleep. There he wandered long in a dream of music that turned into running water, and then suddenly into a voice. It seemed to be the voice of Bilbo chanting verses, faint at first, and then clearer ran the words. Oh my god, Bilbo is evil. But is it Bilbo or is it not Bilbo? That's what I'm wondering. Oh god, this is in like a made-up language. Okay, never mind. It's just a name. Arendelle was a mariner that tarried in Arvenine. He built a boat of timber felled in Nimbrathil to journey in. Her sails he wove of silver fair, of silver were her lanterns made. Her prow was fashioned like a swan, and light upon her banners laid. In panoply of ancient kings, in chained rings he armored him. His shining shield was scored with runes to ward all wounds and harm from him. His bow was made of dragon horn, his arrows shorn of ebony. Of silver was his habergeon, his scabbard of chalcedony. Oh, thank you so much. Thank you, Chad. Oh, you're so sweet. I just uploaded a video. If you check it out, let me know what you think. I'm so bad at pronouncing some of these words. Sorry. Yeah. In chained rings he armored him. His shining shield was scored with runes to ward all wounds and harm from him. His bow was made of dragon horn, his arrows shorn of ebony. Of silver was his habergeon, his scabbard of chalcedony. His sword of steel was valiant, of adamant, his helmet tall, an eagle plume upon his crest, upon his breast an emerald. Beneath the moon and under star he wandered far from northern strands, bewildered in enchanted ways beyond the days of mortal lands. From gnashing of the narrow ice, where shadow lies on frozen hills, from neither heats and burning waste, he turned in haste, and roving still, on starless waters, far astray, at last he came to night of naught. And past and never sight he saw of shining shore, nor light he sought. The winds of wrath came driving him, and blindly in the foam he fled. From west to east and errandless, unheralded he homeward sped. Their flying Elwing came to him, and a flame was in the darkness lit. More bright than light of diamond, the fire upon her carcanet. The Silmaril she bound on him, and crowned him with the living light. And dauntless then, with burning brow, he turned his prow, and in the night, from other world beyond the sea, there strong and free a storm arose. A wind of power in Tarmanel, by paths that seldom mortal goes, his boat it bore with biting breath, as might of death across the grey, and long forsaken seas distressed, from east to west he passed away. Through every night he back was borne on blackened, roaring waves that ran o'er leagues unlit and foundered shores that drowned before the days began, until he heard on strands of pearl, where ends the world, the music long, where ever foaming billows roll the yellow gold and jewels. When he saw the mountains silent rise, where twilight lies upon the knees of Valinor and Eldamar, beheld afar beyond the seas, a wanderer escaped from night. To haven white he came at last, to elven home the green and fair, where keen the air were pale as glass beneath the hill of Elmorin. A glimmer in a valley sheer, the lamplit towers of Tyrion are mirrored on the shadow mere. He tarried there from errantry, and melodies they taught to him, and sages old him marvels told, and harps of gold they brought to him. It's so hard to read these, like when it's what's it called? Like the riddle, like the tales and the songs. Like I feel like it's like not. It doesn't roll off the tongue. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't. Anyway, I don't know how much. Oh, I'm almost done this chapter. That's a bit. They clothed him in 11 white, and 7 lights before him sent us through the Calasirian. To hidden land forlorn he went, he came unto the timeless halls, where shining fall in countless years and endless reigns the elder king. In Elmorin on mountain sheer, in words unheard were spoken then, of folk of men and elven kin beyond the world where visions showed. Forbid to those that dwell therein, a ship that then they built for him of mithril and of elven glass, with shining prow, no shaven oar, nor sail she bore on silver mast. The Silmaril is lantern light, and banner bright with a living flame, to gleam thereon by Elbereth herself was set, who thither came. And wings immortal made for him, and laid on him undying dew, to sail the shoreless skies, and come behind the sun and light of moon. From ever even's lofty hills, where softly silver fountains fall, his wings him bore a wandering light beyond the mighty mountain wall. From world's end then he turned away, and yearned again to find afar his home through shadows journeying, and burning as an island star. And high above the mists he came, a distant flame before the sun, a wonder ere the waking down, where gray the Norland waters run. And over middle earth he passed, and heard at last the weeping soar. This is so hard to read, it's so confusing. Of women, of elven maids, in elder days, in years of yore, but on him mighty doom was laid, till moon should fade, an orbed star, to pass and tarry nevermore on hither shores where mortals are, forever still a herald on, an errand that should never rest, to bear his shining lamp afar, the flamifer of Westernesse. I'm confused because, is Bilbo standing in front of Frodo, saying, oh, everybody left. That's okay. Is Bilbo, standing there? You know what I mean? I wish I knew, I wish I knew you wanted me. Everybody left. Ding, 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 ding. Anyway, okay, let me finish this chapter real quick because I'm almost dead. The chanting ceased. Frodo opened his eyes and saw that Bilbo was seated on a stool in a circle of listeners who were smiling and applauding. Now he had better have it again, said an elf. Bilbo got up and bowed. I'm flattered, Linder, he said, but it would be too tiring to repeat it all. Not too tiring for you, the elves answered, laughing. You know you are never tired of reciting your own verses. Preferably we cannot answer your question at one hearing. What? Cried Bilbo. You can't tell which parts were mine and which parts were the Duden's. It is not easy for us to tell the difference between two mortals, said the elf. Nonsense, Linder, snorted Bilbo. If you can't distinguish between a man and a hobbit, your judgment is poorer than I imagined. They're as different as peas and apples. Maybe. To sheep, other sheep no doubt appear different, laughed Linder. That's funny. Or to shepherds, but mortals have not been our study. We have other businesses. We have other business. I won't argue with you, said Bilbo. I'm sleepy after so much music and listening. I'll leave you to guess, if you want to. He got up and came towards Frodo. Well, that's over, he said in a low voice. It went off better than I expected. I don't often get asked for a second hearing. What did you think of it? I am not going to try and guess, said Frodo, smiling. You needn't, said Bilbo. As a matter of fact, it was all mine, except that Aragorn insisted on my putting in a green stone. He seemed to think it important. I don't know why, otherwise he obviously thought the whole thing rather above my head. And he said that if I had the cheek to make verses about Arendelle and the House of Elrond, it was my affair. I suppose he was right. I don't know, said Frodo. It seemed to me to fit somehow, though I can't explain. I was half asleep when you began, and it seemed to follow on from something that I was dreaming about. I didn't understand that it was really you speaking until the near end. It is difficult to keep awake here until you get used to it, said Bilbo. Not that hobbits would ever acquire quite the elfish appetite the music and poetry entails. They seem to like them as much as food and more. They will be going on for a long time yet. Why do you say to keep slipping off for some more quiet talk? Can we? Said Frodo. Of course. There's merry-making, not business. Come and go as you like, as long as you don't make a noise. They got up and withdrew quietly into the shadows and made for the doors. Sam they left behind, fast asleep with a smile on his face, in spite of his delight in Bilbo's company. Frodo felt a tug of regret as he passed out of the hall of fire. Even as he stepped over the threshold, a single clear voice rose in song. Elbereth Glithindale. Okay, that's all in another language, so I'm not going to read that. Frodo halted for a moment, looking back. Elrond was in his chair, and the fire was on his face, like summer light upon the trees. Near him sat the Lady Arwen. To his surprise, Frodo saw that Aragorn stood beside her. His dark cloak was thrown back, and he seemed to be clad in elven mail, and a star shone on his breast. They spoke together, and then suddenly it seemed to Frodo that Arwen turned towards him, and the light of her eyes fell on him from afar and pierced his heart. He stood, still enchanted, while the sweet syllables of the elfish song fell like clear jewels of blended word and melody. It is a song to Elbereth, said Bilbo. They will sing that and other songs of the blessed realm many times tonight. Come on. Excuse me. I'm almost done. He led Frodo back to his own little room. It opened onto the gardens and looked south across the ravine of the Brunnen. There they sat for some while, looking through the window at the bright stars above the steep climbing woods, and talked softly. They spoke no more of the small news of the Shire far away, nor of the dark shadows and perils that encompassed them, but of the fair things they had seen in the world together, of the elves, of the stars, of trees, and the gentle fall of the bright year in the woods. At last there came a knock on the door. "Begging your pardon," said Sam, putting in his head, "but I was just wondering if you would be wanting anything." "And begging yours, Sam Gamgee," replied Bilbo. I guess you mean that it is time your master went to bed." "Well, sir, there is a council early tomorrow, I hear, and he only got up today for the first time." "Quite right, Sam," laughed Bilbo. "You can trot off and tell Gandalf that he has gone to bed. Good night, Frodo. Bless me, but it has been good to see you again. There are no folk like hobbits, after all, for a real good talk. I am getting very old, and I begin to wonder if I should ever live to see your chapters of our story. Good night. I'll take a walk, I think, and look at the stars of Elbereth in the garden. Sleep well." Oh, that's a good ending for this. Sleep well. Okay, so I'm on chapter 2 now. I'm like now a little less than halfway. So thanks for watching. Again, here's my sticker. Thank you for watching, guys. Good night. I appreciate you.